Well, hey everybody, it's the 28th day of July, 2025. Well, my string here on my bag is all off kilter. I'm Jan Erickson, and this is As Above, So Below. I hope you had a good weekend. We harvested our third cabbage. It's in the 6 pound range. This was 6 3/4 pounds. What my husband went out and got yesterday. We've been having coleslaw with radish in it. That's always fun. But anyway, let's see if I can get a rune to fall in my hand here and end up there. There we go. Oh, we have Tiwaz. It's the 17th rune of the Elder Futhark. It's literally the god Tyr. It's the spiritual warrior within. You see the arrow pointing to spirit here. You can see Isa as the straight line. You can see Kenaz as like its little hat. So you're literally drawing down spirit into your awareness. Again, spiritual warrior within. It's about faith and justice, and it's a male, masculine type of a rune. It's given that it's the god Tyr. So it deals with ideals and oaths. It can also deal with legal matters. It can indicate that. But right now, it may be something where you have to draw access higher awareness and draw that spiritual or activate or invoke the spiritual warrior within here today to stand up for yourself, to stand up for other people, to stand up for your ideals, your principles, or to just be someone who expresses that in your daily life, where people understand. I mean, they already know when they see you that that's who you are. And there's no question about it. We have Albus for the Geomancy rune here today. Let's see if I can find that one. Yep. Albus and its complement Rubius. Albus, not to be confused with the Harry Potter movies, although she does use some Geomancy runes, Fortuna Major, and different names in her books, in her movies. Let's see. But with Albus here, you're looking at the sage or white hair or higher wisdom. Rubius, on the other hand, would be somebody that's given to violence or misuse of force, so it's just really ego driven versus higher awareness driven, and on that particular continuum of experience. But this is Albus, and again, it's gonna link very well with Tiwaz, because you're on a higher plane here today. You're expressing yourself there. Ego is not getting into the mix at all. This is doing the right thing, even though it may not benefit you directly. It may, you may end up with nothing, but what you've done for someone else really, really matters. If you're, say, a businessman or a businesswoman, and you say you own maybe you own a lawn care business, right? Well, maybe you help out somebody and you don't charge them, because they don't really have the money, and you see it, and you're there doing somebody else's work, but you see that somebody is really struggling. Maybe they're ill or whatever, or they're older, and something is amiss, and you see it, you notice it, and it's not a big deal to go over there and just help them out a little bit, and then you don't charge them. That would be an example of the combination of Tiwaz and Albus, where that what you're going to do is not going to necessarily benefit you monetarily, but at the same time, that you're helping somebody, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're not getting paid for it. It just doesn't. All that matters is that you went and you helped somebody and you made their life better. So that would be an example of that today. But let's see if we can get a little more information from the cards. But standing up for somebody else, standing up for justice matters. That would be another way of expressing both Tiwaz and Albus today in your life. Getting the facts straight. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now where you look at it, and number one, you can't believe it's happening, but it is, and it just doesn't seem like the people that are standing up for them, they're not as effective as they could be, because the powers that be aren't allowing it, basically. So they do all. It kind of reminds me of Chef Jose Andres and the World Kitchen, how they go around and they help. They just go around and they help. And sometimes their efforts are thwarted. And that's not okay. But there you're looking at someone expressing that, both Albus and Tiwaz, in all that they're doing. Well, we have one from the suit of cups, one from the suit of pentacles, and one from the suit of wands. We have the King of Cups, the 10 of Pentacles, and the 8 of Wands. Let's go ahead before we go any further here, though, and do the numerology of the reading. So Tiwaz was 17. That ends up being an 8 numerology. So, kind of it kind of reinforces the idea of the strength within to stand up, and be that leader, if you will. So we had 17 plus 10. That's 27 plus 8. That's 35. The king doesn't have, the court doesn't ever have a number. So we got 35, which is 8. 3 and 5 is 8. So we've got an 8 numerology for the reading here. Overall, so again, you're looking at strength. You're looking at character, material recognition and approval, leadership. And again, that dovetails well with Tiwaz and Albus. It all just sort of reinforces itself there. We'll start with the King of Cups. Now, the King of Cups, he's sitting there just like the Queen does in the Queen of Cups, only he's on the ocean itself. You can kind of see a ship back here in the distance. In fact, maybe even more than one. It looks like there might be one behind it, or it might be just some spires sticking up out of the ship. But you can see a little fish there hanging around his neck in a kind of as a pendant. He's holding his chalice, and his scepter is very similar. It has the same type of cup on it. The type of throne he's sitting on is very shell-like, if you will. Also very fanned out, like the chalices are, and the scepter is. But he's kind of looking. He's not really looking into the future as much. He's just sort of looking out. The King of Cups can be very compassionate. He can be wise and loving and spiritual, very generous, but sometimes he can be impulsive, and he can have problems with commitment, and he can be very passive aggressive. There's not a lot of, it can be very either or that way, depending on his mood, essentially, with water elements about our emotions and moods. And so he's, although he has, the ability to be compassionate and loving and wise and generous, the issue with the king is sometimes he's very passive aggressive. So for the king, he would have a hard time expressing probably either Albus or Tiwaz in his life. I mean, he might do all right with it, but you just he's too watery for that, and the balance could be off. And here you're looking at the waves there. The sea that he's sitting in is not calm. You've still got the wavy stuff going on there. So you may encounter somebody today where you're going to have to stand up for yourself, and you hope that they're in the kind of mood, and how you speak to that person is going to really matter. And given that we're in Mercury retrograde right now still, it may not be as easy as you want it to be. And so just be aware of that. You have to come from the place of facts with Albus. You have to show facts. You can't let him get dreamy and shift the narrative, and you need him to hear you, in other words. And you're going to have to maybe stand up to somebody that you never quite know what his mood is going to be, and so it may be something where you want to wait until he's in a better mood. So you're going to have to take the temperature of the room, essentially, or of him, when you talk to him. But there could be issues of inheritance or transfer of say for example, you've got, you see the Kabbalah here, the Kabbalistic tree of life expressed here in the way the pentacles are the coins are arranged. And here you have an older man. You see his abundance all around him with the grapes that are around him. Grapes always mean abundance. You see his dogs right there at his knees, wanting attention from him. But you also see what looks like a man and a woman over here through the archway or right under the archway. And I always look at this as a transfer of legacy, of inheritance, the passing of the torch, of the abundance that this man has had, given that he's older. You can see the white hair there. It could be that either they've just come to visit and the abundance is all around them, or this could be the king and this could be the prince or the princess. And, if they're brother and sister or they're married or whatever, you can look right down here. There seems to be a child. So I've always interpreted this as a family that's come to visit daddy, essentially, their father or father-in-law or whatever. And you see the coat of arms everywhere. So to me, this is about, when you, especially given that it's the 10 is really about endings and beginnings. And so to me, there's a transfer or a passage of legacy with the 10. And maybe you need some advice from someone who's compassionate. You want to see this person as compassionate, and you need some advice about how that's going to happen. And so if this isn't the king, maybe, you go to somebody else in authority that has the compassion and the understanding and the generosity of spirit to help you with that process. So the King of Cups could be, say, an attorney who handles that sort of thing. But you want somebody that's not so cut and dried. You want somebody that understands the emotion of it all. That's going to happen. It's not just about the earthly experience here. It's about the emotion when that transfer of legacy happens. And so the passing of the torch, if you will, or inheritance. So this could be something where maybe the person that's in your life has passed, or is ill, and they're preparing for this. And so there could be something like that. And with the 8 of Wands, there could be an awful lot coming in on you. And you're going to need some compassion and some support in this process, in other words. This is just a lot of energy that's a lot of things may need to be done. I know that when my mother passed, I was the one who was designated the executor, and I had to take care of everything, and handle all the legal stuff, all the, everything that she needed to have done after that happened. And so really, there's a lot coming in on you if that's the case. And so this may indicate, the King of Cups may indicate either the person you go to for legal support. Maybe this is the attorney, like I said, that you go to, and this person is very compassionate and wise and loving and generous with their time, because if there is a transfer of inheritance here that the 10 can indicate, again, 10 endings and beginnings. If you terminate the ends of the Roman numeral X, which is 10, you have Dagaz, which is the end of one phase and the beginning of another. And so from there, you may be the one designated to take care of everything. You may be, like I was with my mother, designated the executor. And I know when my husband's parents both passed, one of the other kids in the family was designated the executor. A different one, the daughter was for the father and my father-in-law, and then one of the other sons, because he lived down there with her in the same area she lived in, so he could take care of all of that, and he was designated the executor of her estate. And so there's a lot of stuff to do, even when it's all prepared out, and so you may need to have somebody that is very supportive of that process that you can go to and be sure you get all of your ducks in a row. That's another thing that this reminds me of, is managing everything that's coming in on you and getting your ducks in a row, essentially. But with because it just looks like the staffs are just being thrown into the situation. So a lot of things are happening, and very swift motion with the Eight of Wands. But with the Eight, again, you're talking about leadership and strength, and this is a time where, you're the one that was chosen, maybe, or the only one that's left to do it, maybe. That sometimes happens in a family situation as well. But I'm just concerned here that if it's not a death in the family, then maybe this transfer of legacy, maybe whatever business he owned is being transferred off to these two, and you could be one of these two here, or you could be the one that's the older person transferring that, say, the business off, to signing it over to your kids, essentially, so that they can continue on the family business and the family legacy. But again, there's that feeling of transfer, of the end of one phase and the beginning of another with the 10 card here, especially the 10 of Pentacles. But after that happens, then you're going to be busy, essentially, dealing with all of that, and if you're taking over a business, there's going to be a lot to do. And you're going to need that higher wisdom with both Tiwaz and Albus to be able to do that. And to do right by the parent that is transferring that off to you, if you are the one that's getting this, and then if you're represented by the older man here, then you're going to need to be there to help them get established on their own, and to be there for questions and to explain some things, and there'll be a lot to do. And so again, with the 8 numerology for the entire reading, you're talking about, again, strength, external and inner strength, leadership, material recognition and approval. It could be that if you are the son or daughter that's getting the business, if that's something like that's happening, then if you're going to be the one managing that legacy, in other words, then it's going to take the energy of Tiwaz and Albus to do that, so that you do this with integrity, so that you appreciate the foundation that your parent has established for you, that you're now receiving as that gift, that inheritance. And again, it could, the King of Cups could simply be if it's not a separate individual, if it's the qualities therein that the parent either possesses in order to hand this off to the children or to one of the kids. There's that generosity there. And love that's at the heart of all of it, and if the King of Cups is representing, if the qualities of the King is part of how you're going to be responding, then you're going to be responding with gratitude and love and appreciation for this tremendous gift that's been given to you. So it can be a variety of different things here. It just depends on how this resonates for you. But to me, when I see the 10 of Pentacles and the 8 of Wands, it just means that there's a lot going on here, and either this is going to be an actual inheritance because your father is ill, or a parent is ill and not expected to survive it, that illness, or he's just decided to retire, that they've had enough and now they're transferring this off to you. That's a tremendous gift to have. And it does represent the end of one phase and the beginning of another. I also say it because if these two are walking under the archway, then you're going from here to there, and they may be the ones taking over the business or the legacy or whatever you've got there. but it's not uncommon, for a parent to transfer and to hand off the family business to somebody, to one of his kids, or her kids. It's a very common thing to happen, and in order to honor that, you have to have the strength to carry on, basically. And again, a lot may be happening there in that regard. So however this manifests, however this resonates, just remember that there's this element of gratitude and love and reciprocity and generosity that runs throughout the cards here. And so, on both ends of the spectrum, if it's being given to you, then there's that appreciation and for the gift, the tremendous gift that's been given you. So, but he's on the water, so it's indicative of change. So, that's why I say there could be something like that happening today with this. So, anyhow, I think that's it. We did it for a Monday. Kind of an interesting one, kind of specific in a way, a little more specific than I like to be. But I don't know. You got to read the cards the way they are. So. Anyhow, thanks for watching. The stuff is, let's see, this is Monday, so the stuff came out on the blog in the midnight hour yesterday morning. The forecast for the week is out. I haven't been posting that on Facebook, my Facebook page over there, and I do put some of it, though, over on Substack. So, but go to the blog. The web address there is imsteppingaside.com. It's called Stepping Aside. I'd love you to take a look at it and see what you think. There's also, if you're of the magically inclined, if you're of that persuasion, then there's a week's full of correspondences for work and magic. That's also there. And then, of course, I do the reading notes from each reading that I do Mondays and Thursdays, and then I have the link back to the video. So, but if you just kind of want to look at that as you're watching the video, then it can kind of keep you going in the same direction that I am on it, and you can kind of take a look at that ahead of time and see those, and if you want to, before watching the video, or just open it up and as you're watching the video and kind of read along. It's not a full transcript of the reading or anything like that. It's just essentially the reading notes, so that you can stay focused on what's going on and just kind of get an idea of how I break things down in my own mind. So anyway, thanks for watching again, and click subscribe if you haven't, and come back again on Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.